Hello and welcome back to Mondo Musings. I'm your presenter, Nicardo McLean. Now, over the last few months, I've been taken to task quite a bit by quite a few viewers who expected to see some of the more famous names from the Jamaican track and field diaspora featured in our 10 famous athletes whose Jamaican roots may surprise you video. So, time come. Today's video, Mondo Musings does just that. Here are 10 famous athletes whose Jamaican roots shouldn't really surprise you. Number 10. Ben Johnson. Before the fast times and the fame, before the medals and the acclaim, and definitely before the Nominee of Soul 1988, which was a catalyst for a fall from grace like the world of athletics had never previously witnessed, Ben Johnson, born Benjamin Sinclair Johnson, was just a little boy nurturing big dreams in his native parish of Trelawney in Jamaica. It was the 1984 Olympic 100-meter bronze medal winner's subsequent migration to Canada in the mid-1970s that eventually set the scene for one of the wildest track and field stories ever written. But as suggested in a June 2017 interview with the Jamaica Star's Leon Jackson, it is a tale that could yet have an intriguing chapter set back in the place where it all began. Number 9. Sidonie Mothersill. As presented in a 2011 edition of Cayman Airways Skies magazine, Sidonie Mothersill and her mom made the short hop from Jamaica over to neighboring Cayman when she was just 7. In her teens, the future Commonwealth half-lap champ returned to the island to further her schooling at St. Andrew High School, regularly matching strides with some of Jamaica's top female sprinters inside Kingston's National Stadium. When the Carifta Games paid a rare visit to Kingston in 1996, the familiar surface at the local sports mecca provided the perfect platform for Mothersill to turn in what was arguably the standout performance of her junior career. As a senior, there's little debate. The four-time Olympian's crowning glory undoubtedly came at the 2001 World Championships in Edmonton, where she originally finished 4th in her specialist 200 meters, before being upgraded to bronze years later following Marion Jones's disqualification. It was a DQ which also pushed the Bahamas' Debbie Ferguson McKenzie, another athlete with reported Jamaican roots, into the gold medal position. Number 8. Phyllis Francis. There's a certain Jamaicanness inherent in a name like Phyllis Francis. Not overly surprising then that the tall, powerful American quarter-miler's father actually hails from the western end of the island, Montego Bay to be exact. What is surprising, especially based on her relatively low profile compared to many others in the event, is how good she's been since breaking 51 seconds for the first time in 2013. In fact, in 2017, she crowned herself tops in the world, surging late to get past a stumbling Shawnee Miller-Weibo and a tiring Allyson Felix to claim her first global gold in London with a then PB of 49.92. 2 years following, a massive 49.61 lifetime best was quite shockingly only good enough for 5th in her title defense. And while the Rio 2016 5th placer has been slightly off color over the last 2 pandemic-scarred seasons, at just 29, there's an excellent chance that she could be back pushing the one-lap podium at majors for many years to come. Number 7. Pauline Davis-Thompson. Pauline Davis-Thompson was doing Sharika Jackson things while the Jamaican star was still doing her thing in infant school. Born to a Jamaican mother in the Bahamas in 1966, she was already among the top short sprint talents in the region by 1986. It wasn't until 1995 that she made her big medal breakthrough on the global stage though, but over 400 meters. That World Championship silver in Gothenburg preceded what initially appeared to be another at Sydney 2000. This, though, was subsequently upgraded to gold a decade later when Marion Jones, originally first across the line, was stripped of the most glittery laurel. An integral member of the fabled Golden Girls 4x1 quartet, the bubbly former IAAF council member now appears to be on the fast track in the area of athletics administration. Number 6. Ato Boldon. Olympic medalist Ato Boldon may be, to echo Calypso King David Rudder and Carl Jacobs' classic ode to patriotism, Trini to the Bone. There is, though, a bit of Jamaican flavor mixed in there somewhere. Born to a Jamaican mother and Trinidadian father in the Twin Island Republic, Boldon spent his formative years in the nation's capital, before moving to the United States in his early teens. As detailed in a May 14, 1996 LA Times article, as fate would have it, the then budding football star's talent for track and field was spotted by a coach at, of all places, the now shuttered Jamaica High School in Queens, New York. That was 1989. By the end of 1992, the then 18-year-old Trinbagonian was already a double sprint champion at the world junior level. 7 individual world and Olympic medals, including a gold over 200 meters at Athens 97, followed upon matriculation to the senior ranks. In the almost 25 years since that golden moment, the versatile Boldon has established himself as one of the sport's most insightful commentators, as well as an accomplished coach to the likes of 2018 World 100 and 200 meter champ and Olympic sprint relay gold medalist Brianna Williams, and formerly to World Under-20 sprint medalist Khalifa St. Fort. Number 5. Inger Miller. Born to Jamaican sprinting royalty, Inger Miller followed faithfully in her Olympic 100-meter medalist father Lennox's princely footsteps. To the chagrin of some Jamaican track and field fans, though, those successful strides were made in the red, white, and blue vest of our native US, as opposed to a black, green, and gold one. However, whether Jamaican, American, both, or neither, hers was a career well worth celebrating. At its zenith, which came at the 1999 World Championships in Seville, she claimed gold in the 200 meters and silver in the 1, in brilliant times of 21.77 seconds and 10.79 respectively. That blistering half-lap PB still has her ranked among the 20 best performers of all time. Number 4. Linford Christie. Born in Jamaica to parents who subsequently migrated to England, Linford Christie spent his early years in the care of a typically resourceful Windrush-era grandmother. In a May 13, 2021 article published in The Guardian, Christie fondly recounts that she was the mother, the doctor, the dentist, you name it, my grandma covered it. Reunited with his parents in late 1960s London, it wasn't until well into early manhood that the fun-loving sprinter finally fully embraced the discipline and dedication required to be a successful professional athlete. Once he did, his God-given gifts did the rest, helping him to unwrap Bill's goals at the Olympics in 1992 and at the World Championships in 93. However, after a career typified by astronomical highs such as these, a then semi-retired Christie rode off into the sunset on a bit of a low at the turn of the century. A 2-year ban imposed after a positive test for nandrolone ultimately prevented him from playing any official part when the Olympics belatedly returned to his home turf of London in 2012. Despite this, he's still regarded by many as one of the finest 100-meter men of his generation. Number 3. Denise Lewis. There are many first-generation Britons with Jamaican parentage whose connection to the island is as distant as Jamaica is from Africa. Then there's popular BBC athletics presenter Denise Lewis, who, thanks primarily to the efforts of her Jamaican-born mom, has fostered a pretty special relationship with the land of her parents' birth. So much so that in a January 2010 interview with the Independent Sophie Lamb, the Sydney 2000 heptathlon gold medalist intimated that the land of wood and water was her happy place. It's also a place from which the 2-time world champ silver medal winner apparently drew huge inspiration to fuel her outstanding career in track and field. Number 2. Donovan Bailey. Donovan Bailey's stirring come-from-behind triumph in world record time at Atlanta 96 marked the 3rd straight time that a Jamaican-born sprinter representing either Canada or Great Britain had crossed the line first in the men's 100 meters final. The long-legged speedster's contribution to this fascinating feat followed on the heels of Ben Johnson's subsequently revoked win in 1988 and Linford Christie's validated victory 4 years later. The grassy expanses at Manchester's Mount Olivet Primary School were some of the earliest stages on which Bailey showcased his special talent. As per an article in the Canadian Encyclopedia by Jeremy Freeborn, this led a teacher at the institution, a certain Clarice Lambert, to coolly opine that Donovan was, even back then, athletically inclined. A further 2 individual World Championships medals and a hatful of global sprint relay honors certainly proved that teacher Lambert's early assessment was spot on. And number 1, Sanya Richards-Ross. Kingston-born Sanya Richards, now Richards-Ross, may well have arrived at a fork in the road of sorts in the lead up to the World Junior Championships in 2002. One road, paved by her residency in the US since the age of 12, promised all the trappings enjoyed by America's athletics elite. Meanwhile, the other beckoned invitingly with a debut for the home team in her hometown. Ultimately, she chose the former, picking up a world title over 400 meters in 2009 and an Olympic gold over the same distance 3 years later in London, as well as 7 global 4x4 golds on her way to becoming one of the best combo sprinters of her era. Thankfully, though, Richards-Ross never turned her back on the country where her dream of being an Olympian was conceived while a student at Vass Prep, frequently returning to give back through various youth development initiatives. So that's it for the sequel in our 10 Famous Athletes Whose Jamaican Roots series. Please do share your thoughts on the video in the comment section. Who did I miss? Who you didn't know had Jamaican links? Who you wished had competed for Jamaica instead? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear them. Thanks as always for watching. Until next time, Godspeed.